I gotta remember we're fucking recording our faces still. I am so on the fence about YouTube because I just do so many random weird things during the recording that I have to now think about.
Welcome to Who Fucking Knows, a podcast where three friends discuss conspiracy theories and unknown phenomena that make you ask who, why, and how, because usually we have the what and the when covered. My name is Angela.
I'm Taylor.
I'm Lexi.
Welcome to the
Hello.
If you would like to listen to us, you can hear us on Spotify. Make sure to follow for us.
And you can listen on Apple Podcasts too. Follow there as well. Or subscribe, or whatever you do on Apple Podcasts.
And lately we've started posting YouTube videos, and a lot of work goes into them, so you should go subscribe to us on YouTube, and we would love to see that. You can find the link to our YouTube, our Spotify, and our Apple Podcasts via our Instagram at WFK.
Sweet. Give us some love.
Give us some love.
Love us.
Alrighty. Well, I know it is 9:40 in the morning on a Monday, but what are y'all drinking?
I have
Black coffee.
a chai tea latte. I'm trying to get Trader Joe's to sponsor us, so just a quick word from our future sponsor, Trader Joe's. They have this chai tea concentrate, and if you just add some milk in it, you make a delicious chai tea latte, so...
Well, it is the first day of my summer vacation, and I only have a week off, so I said, fuck it, it's 9:40 in the morning on a Monday, and I'm drinking a screwdriver. So, cheers!
Woo! That's fun.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Finish the semester on a high note, starting the summer on a high note.
Hell
and then
yeah.
I'll start summer classes next week.
That's cool. At least, like, summer classes, are they super short? Oh, sorry, I hit my straw. That was probably loud. Are your summer classes, how long are they going to go for?
I have a total of 4, and they're split into 2 sessions, and each session is 5 weeks long.
Mm.
That's beautiful, because you don't have enough time to hate the class.
Done.
You can hate the class, but you don't have enough time to, like, ignore it.
Yeah.
Yep, and then I'll have a really easy fall semester, which will be really nice, and then I'll be done.
Yay.
Done.
That's exciting.
Yeah. And no, another exciting thing is that they opened up the beaches down here in Huntington, and so naturally I went to the beach and I sat out on the beach, and as Lexi knows, I'm notorious for turning into a lobster, and my legs are the reddest they have been in
Show our
years.
YouTube viewers. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Take
our
your
YouTube
pants
viewers,
off.
I think you can see it in your face. Your face looks pretty red.
You know, everything about me is just red. Like, can you see?
Woo! That'll get our
But my
views
legs,
up.
My legs are way worse. But
I
I am not dropping my pants.
Boo.
Your skin is just about as red as your hair right now.
Well, the ends of my hair, my roots are growing in, and I'm sorry, fans, I am not a natural redhead as much as I would like to be.
I know.
Lexi, do you have a current event for us this week?
I sure do. So I was just Googling weird but cool news. So this title of this article is Japanese Spirit Amabi, a mythical mermaid monster, revived to ward off coronavirus. So the Amabi, I know, right? I was like, hell yeah.
I dig it.
So I'm going to go ahead and show a picture of the Amabi on my, whatever this is called, orbs. Dink. So, and you guys can look at it in the, I think it should be my first picture that I sent, so the most recent one. But anyways, a mythical mermaid monster from Japan folklore has made a resurgence in the country's popular culture recently as people hope for the end of the coronavirus. So the Amabi is a 19th century Japanese spirit who is said to ward off plagues, And legend has it, the Amabi was said to have appeared to a samurai and told him to draw a picture of her and show it to people to keep them safe from a coming pandemic. So it's sort of, I don't know if you can see the picture, but it's like a fishy, like bird-like creature with long hair and a beak. And in Japan, it's been sort of just taking over everything there. People are making cakes and different foods and face masks off of it. And it sparked something called the Amabi Challenge, where people are drawing her and like posting it on Twitter and various things like that. So perhaps Amabi's gonna save us from the coronavirus. Who fucking knows? But anyways,
That's very relevant.
yeah, I was like, that's awesome. Save
There's
us
a
all.
spirit for this?
I
What the fuck?
know.
Why haven't
To-
we done this sooner, guys?
Seriously, to ward off plagues. Hello.
But that was an excellent current event.
Yeah, that's what I got for you. So hopefully the Amabi will save us all.
So, I've got a fun story for us this week. It's not
A
going to be a
fun
serial
one?
killer. Yeah, I find it
Fun?
fun. It's not, like, mentally disturbing.
I know. When I was editing last week's YouTube video, I was just like, I have to relive this right now. So I was like, this is just so sad, and it makes me so angry
I
to
know.
hear all the horrible things.
Which one was last week's?
The
Sorry.
Mile
The hammer
High
killers?
killer. The Colorado guy who
Yeah.
killed people with
Oh,
a hammer.
yeah.
Yeah. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Still mad about
that's
it.
right. No, I've got something kind of fun.
Okay.
I guess you could say that it ends in a sad story, but it's not one that will emotionally move you into into therapy.
Okay.
So we're gonna be October 2014, so we're not too far ago.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about Kenny Veach. Does that sound familiar to any of you?
I don't think
No.
so.
Kenny Leach?
Kenny
Veach.
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 With a V as in Victor.
Oh,
Okay, well,
Veach. No,
he's a
just
40
kidding. Still doesn't.
Well, you're in for a ride. Anyway,
All right.
he's an avid hiker. Left a comment on a YouTube video. What? Are we serious now? Huh? We're good? I don't know.
Oh.
Thanks, Griffiths.
Special appearance.
I feel so much better. I feel so much better that he's not here anymore. Okay, now I can talk normal.
Okay, that's really strange because I did not see him enter the room. Did you guys see him enter?
I did see him
How
enter.
did he get in there? Is there
Has he
another
been in
door?
here the whole time? That's funny.
Just that door.
Was he in there when we were talking about taking off your pants?
Yeah.
Oh god. I'm not taking my
Oh my
pants off.
God.
When you were showing your tan lines? Oh Jesus. Your grandpa's like, what kind of thing does my granddaughter do?
Yeah, he's probably contemplating, going, I hope the other two aren't as strange as the oldest one.
Oh my god.
That's funny. Those came out of nowhere. Okay.
Alrighty. So, I've got quite a story for you. It won't make you go into therapy, so, woo! We're going to talk about Kenny Veach. He is a 47-year-old avid hiker who left a comment on a YouTube video in October 2014. The YouTube video was titled Son of an Area 51 Technician. It's still available on YouTube. I looked it up. It's a video... It's Paul H. Utes. He's talking about his father, Paul A. Utes, who worked as a high-level engineer in Area 51 and had a Q clearance, which I am under the impression that's a pretty high clearance. I have no idea. I didn't look into it, but yeah. So Kenny's comment read, quote, "That ain't nothing. I am a long-distance hiker. One time during one of my hikes out by Nellis Air Force Base, I found a hidden cave. The entrance to the cave was shaped like a perfect capital M, as in Mary. I always enter every cave I find, but as I began to enter this particular cave, my whole body began to vibrate. The closer I got to the cave entrance, the worse the vibrating became. Suddenly I became very scared and hightailed it out of there. That was one of the strangest things that ever happened to me."
A vibrating cave.
That made his, like, body vibrate.
Interesting.
So for those of you who don't know, Nellis Air Force Base is like a huge base that is just north of Vegas that opens up into the desert, and it includes Area 51. Here's a little photo that you can see. of it. As you can see, like the whole like shaded gray area is the Air Force, and then Area 51's kind of off to the right from everyone else. So,
I see the photo in Discord.
woo! Fucking get rid of that. Okay. Kenny commented some more when people responded to his comment on YouTube. He said, quote, I solo hike across mountaintops that most people wouldn't dare to go. I have been in more caves than I can count. I play with rattlesnakes for fun, but this one particular cave was beyond anything I had ever encountered. Da-na-na-na. And so, of course, that spoke more interest, and he commented once again, and the photo will be right there. He added, quote, I have been doing this sort of thing for over 20 years. I go where no one goes, and I never take anyone with me. I find skulls of all shapes and sizes, and occasionally I find really old animal traps. I hike over mountains top after mountaintop and sleep on peaks under the stars. Sometimes I have to scale giant cliffs to get myself out of a jam, but I always make it back. I'm beat up and tired, and my pack is almost always heavier than when I left. I had to be rescued only one time by a helicopter. I had blown out my left leg at the top of the mountain, and I only had a cup of water left to get me 20 miles back to my truck. It was also over 100 degrees out, so I had a very good safety record. So he's like, he knows what he's getting into when he goes out, and like, he's not just like us going on a hike. He's like someone who knows his shit.
Whoa. Just kidding.
Sorry. Well, actually, you guys probably hike way more than I do, but I'm talking for me at least.
Yeah, no, I couldn't do if I was like blown out leg 20 miles away from my car, I'd be like, all right, I'm dead.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know how to get a helicopter to save me. Like, how does one do that? I hope you have phone reception. Otherwise, it's like, do you get a flare? Like, what? How did he? Okay, sorry. Continue.
Angel's like,
no, I don't know. It's a good question. I don't want to ever have to find out.
I feel like I should Google that just in case one day I find myself in a pickle.
Hey, there you go. This podcast is informational on all aspects of life.
Yeah.
So, Kenny's comment sparked a lot of reactions and responses. Several YouTube users encouraged Kenny to seek out the cave and enter again, this time documenting his hike and providing evidence of his strange discovery. Because they're like, you're all talk fool. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, he set out for his adventure, telling his family and girlfriend it would be a quick overnight trip. He left with a 9mm handgun and a video of his camera. And here's a little photo of Kenny himself. This is a screenshot from one of his videos. That's why it's kind of grainy and not so well, but you get the gist of what he looks like.
Kenny!
There he is.
Hello,
rattlesnake.
Kenny.
Or, I don't know if it's yeah.
We'll say it's a snake. Let's go with it. It doesn't look like it, but we could say it. Why not?
It's either a snake or a piece of rope.
Exactly. Upon his return, he posted a video of his discoveries. Much to the dismay of those following his claims, he was unable to locate the cave, and his video didn't seem to reveal any clues to the mysterious M cave he had discussed in his original comment. The video is still up, and you can find it by looking up, quote, M, as in Mary, cave hike on YouTube. Kenny's YouTube channel is Snake Bit McGee. It currently has over 1.4 billion views, this video entirely, which is where I got the screenshot from. So, yeah. His video was met with much criticism, and YouTube commenters both encouraged and provoked him, as we all know how YouTube is, to try and for a third time seek out the cave. There was one comment left on the video that really caught people's attention, which may also have been the last push to get Kenny to search the cave. And it is right here, and it's from Lemmy Kill Mister, and he said, "No, do not go back there. If you find that cave entrance, don't go in. If you do, you won't get out." Da-da-da-da.
Yikes.
So yeah, that's like quite a comment there. But there's a sea of comments, and that could be someone just fucking around with him. But I'd also keep a little grain of salt with that. So on November 10th, 2014, which was about a month after he first discovered the cave, commented about discovering the cave on YouTube, he set off once more to search for the M-shaped cave. He once more told his girlfriend it would be a short overnight trip. When Kenny didn't come home on November 11th, Kenny's girlfriend reported him missing. Here's a couple more photos of Kenny. He's just like your average dude.
Your average dude that goes on crazy adventures.
Yeah. So, police looked at his video attempted the first time searching for the M cave, which is on YouTube. In the beginning of the video, he's standing in front of an abandoned mine shaft. It was there on November 22nd, which is 12 days after he was last seen, that search and rescue volunteers found Kenny's cell phone. Quote, "We found his cell phone close to a very vertical old mine shaft and we can't find another trail," Red Rock Search and Rescue Commander Dave Cummings told News 3. "It doesn't mean that he's down the mine shaft, but we have tracked him as far as we can. We are having our other crews come in from the search areas." And the search continued and continued, and he was never found. So as you can only imagine, there are quite a few theories running around. Mm-hmm. There's a whole, 4 different threads on, what's it called? Reddit. Yeah. Of everybody going crazy. So I kind of, read through some of them, and I picked out some, yeah, this could have happened, legitimately, but here are some of the crazy ones and what you might think. So after his cell phone was found, the trail ran cold until this day, and the first theory is Kenny simply fell and died in an unknown cave or died of exposure. Kenny was a victim of foul play, such as witnessing a drug deal or someone dumping a body, which resulted in his death to silence him, which is, possible. That he faked his death to simply live another life. However, nowadays, if this has happened in the 60s, I would believe that a little bit more, but in 2014, it's hard to just kind of disappear.
It is.
Yeah.
With such a digital thumbprint that so many people have.
Yeah.
And then another theory is, this one's fun. Kenny saw government secrets within the cave and was kidnapped by U.S. soldiers when he emerged.
Kenny! No!
Honestly, though, the fact that he was looking for that, that's, I don't know.
And he's not far from all the different bases and the whole Air Force thing right there. So, it's possible, but, why would they kidnap him and then keep him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they would just kill him. That's probably, they could have just killed him and got rid of the body.
Yeah, I guess. But, why kill him? Why not brainwash him? That's the thing.
No.
Next theory is Kenny was interested in the occult and led him to the cave where he disappeared. So he joined
Satan has him now.
Something, and yeah, apparently. And then my favorite one is that he was abducted by aliens in the middle of the desert, and they kept him.
Yeah.
They're like, "You want to see what's in the M cave, huh? Well, that comes with a price."
Yeah, that's where we live. So there is one last update that I'm going to go over with, with his case, but this isn't, confirmed. It's just, highly, you think it's real, and so we're going to go with it type of thing.
Yeah.
But there's no confirmation, because I'm going to read a quote that his supposed girlfriend left on his YouTube video, The Enclave. And there's no confirmation this is indeed her, so that's why I'm just, air caution. But she posted, quote, I think I have a photo of it. Yep, there it is. "I am the girlfriend that Kenny spoke of in the video. There are so many posts. I had no idea until a friend let me know. So many people are wondering what happened and guessing different things. You are heartfelt about the sadness around what has happened with Kenny. He has not been found, and I feel that the probably will not be found for many, many months, if ever. I want to share what I know and feel about what happened so that you might bring some closure and understanding in your own lives. Kenny absolutely loved hiking in the desert. It was his very, very favorite thing to do. We hiked and camped together all over the Nevada desert, sometimes 9 hours in a day. Ugh, not my type of guy. We found many abandoned mining towns, usually referred to as ghost towns by Nevada hikers. We explored many caves and mine shafts. We were always careful how we explored them, but Kenny was a bit more daring than I was. We wore snake guards, sun-protected clothing, used walking sticks, brought enough water and food for the hiking hours, and had extra water and food in the car. I want you to know that I do not think Kenny had an accident. I believe he committed suicide. He battled depression for many years and would not take medication to see a doctor. He quit his job a little more than a year before he disappeared. The search for him was started within a couple of days of my call. Over 30 search and rescue team members searched 3 different times on foot. 1 helicopter flyover was done, and there was no trace of Kenny or any of his camping things. They found his car in the area I told them it would be. They did find a cell phone by the mine shaft in the video. The mine shaft was only about a 4-hour hike from his car. It is my feeling he left behind so that he could not be tracked from the GPS in it. He also did not take his video camera with him on the solo hike. It was left in his home, so he had no intention of filming anything.
Oh, maybe he did.
Which is sad, but like I can understand that would be like kind of like his best exit strategy because he's doing something that he loves in the area that he loves.
Yeah.
Her final comment was, I share this with you for 2 reasons. First, so that you have more of an understanding who Kenny was and to bring some peace or understanding to the situation. Secondly, if any of you do decide to go out into our desert to look for him or the M Cave, be careful and bring enough water and food. Walking sticks are a good idea and not doing a solo hike. Bring a GPS and make sure that you have let family or friends know that you are heading out for the hike and where and when you will be returning. A search really can't be on a one-day hike. You would be repeating much of the same hike, just getting up the mountain and then be left with not many hours in the day to do search. You would need 2 or 3 days at a time in the summer or even late spring. This cannot be done because of the heat of our desert. You would not be able to carry enough water, so please be careful. I had many wonderful experiences with Kenny and will always remember them and have a place of love in my heart for him and the wonderful things we did together. I'm healing from my loss and look forward to new experiences with desert hiking, camping, and taking beautiful pictures of our desert. Enjoy your adventures of life, and thank you for the kind and loving comments sent my way.
Aww.
So that's
like
her little tribute.
Yeah, I feel like it is her because I don't see... It'd be pretty sick for a complete stranger just to fabricate all that and take the time to write down such a, like, long and thoughtful comment, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
But
Yeah, but there's a lot of sickos on the internet. But yeah, who fucking knows what happened to Kenny? I would like to believe that he was abducted by aliens or something of that nature instead of the morbid reality of maybe suicide. But hey, who fucking knows what happened to him?
Yeah, who fucking knows? Dang. But speaking of aliens, I'm gonna take you guys on a trip that's out of this world. I'm just kidding. Well, I am, but...
Wait, I have my alien friend.
alien friend.
Yeah.
Ew.
Buckle up, Travis. It's
Just
time
hold
to
him
go.
there the whole
Just
time.
kidding.
Travis.
Oh, is that what we... That's right, we named him Travis. I forgot about that.
So,
Trying to put him on my mic.
So, maybe you've never seen any space aliens, but recent polls indicate that up to 6% of Americans claim to have been abducted by them. The extraterrestrials are often said to take their captives to their saucers, lay them out on a table to perform medical tests, but some claim that the aliens are also interested in our mating habits. So perhaps the aliens are in a reproductive bind on their homeworld, as in they can no longer successfully procreate, and so they have to come to Earth to use humans as incubators to spawn alien offspring. Or maybe they need our help to create a race of alien-human hybrids for who knows what reason. So today I'm going to share with you some stories of the alien breeding program and alleged alien sex. So here we go.
Real quick, before we get into that important question, would you rather be probed or would you rather host an alien baby? Either way, you're getting probed, but at least...
Wait, so what was the second one? Because you kind of cut out on my end.
Sorry. Host an alien baby, like grow it inside you.
What if it tries to claw its way out of my uterus or something? It's like, no.
I think I would rather be probed, but by the way that these stories go, I think hosting an alien baby wouldn't be like too bad, and you'll see why.
I knew there was a fucking link, but I was interested in Angela's question because like hers like, yeah, I want to meet an alien. I wouldn't mind being beamed up. I'd be Travis, and then it's like, would you host one?
Would you
Maybe.
carry an alien baby?
I don't know, but I would rather not. But
okay.
But
No, there is
like,
some.
I don't even want to host a human baby right now. So
Alien baby.
That's a different type of alien.
yeah. So I'm gonna start off with the abduction of Antonio Villas Boas. So, according to the story by V.S. Boas, he was abducted by a group of ETs measuring approximately 5 feet tall when he was plowing his field with a tractor. He was taken inside a spaceship's room and got sick with a gas that came out of the walls. Then a naked and attractive female came to him. The female entity had blonde hair, red pubic hair, and deep blue eyes.
Whoa.
And this female forced him to have intercourse. So, V.S. Boas thought it was the intention of the extraterrestrials to produce a human-alien hybrid that could live on their planet. Boas noted that he noticed burns on his body when he got back. According to Olavo Fontes, a doctor from a reputable medical center and who had contact with the American UFO Research Group APRO, Boas suffered radiation burns. However, Boas did not recognize or notice how he got the burns. So in the late 50s, this story received a lot of global popularity, and many thought that the farmer was not capable to make such a false story because he was a humble farmer and an uneducated resident from rural Brazil. However, in reality, Boas owned a large farmland and at least a tractor, and he later became a lawyer and practiced his profession until he died in 1992. So allegedly, he was abducted from his rural farm in Brazil in the late 1950s, and he had sex with a female alien type thing. I have a couple photos for you guys. They're the first two photos that I put in Discord. I'm going to pop them up here. So I have a picture of Antonio himself. He's like the guy with the mustache. It's a black and white photo. And then a photo of the alien woman that he claims he had sex with. And then the photo also shows kind of an alien in a kind of suit. And I think that's the one that gassed him. So that's the first one. There's a lot more details online about this case, and I'm not really diving too deep into any of these cases because I have like 3 or 4 of them. So, but that is one, and this one actually has a lot of popularity because of the fact that he had radiation burns and he tested positive for radiation. So
Whoa.
people were like, how does that happen to a farmer in Brazil? You know?
That's weird.
No big deal. It's not a problem. But, like, I see the picture of the alien, too. Like, it's weird. He totally has hair, but it looks like a wig. Like,
Yeah.
he just went to
It's
the
like,
store and bought a wig.
Did they do that to make him more comfortable, or?
It would weird me out more, to be completely honest.
Yeah. You're like, I would rather have a bald alien.
Yeah. I'm
So,
racist
more
against hairy aliens.
Yeah, hairy aliens, that doesn't sound right. Unless you're like, what is it, Chewbacca? Then that's an okay hairy alien.
Exactly.
So, my next case is Jane Pulley. So, Jane Pulley is an ordinary woman who has had an extraordinary life. She was a young child when she first started getting visited by a race of extraterrestrials commonly called the Greys. And she has also developed a relationship with them and refers to them as her family. As a lifelong experiencer, Jane claims to have participated in the Grey alien and human breeding program. So she recently, I don't know what year this was, but the YouTube video that had this interview looked like it was sometime in the 2000, like between 2010 and now. She was interviewed by Channel 10 program Studio 10. It seemed like it was from the UK or something, the way their accents were and whatnot. But before she appeared on that channel, she passed 3 different lie detector tests. And they asked her questions like, have you met an alien? Have you been part of an alien breeding program? And do you have part alien children? So she claims that when she was a toddler, she was abducted by an alien, and she says she was very young the first time it happened, and she remembers looking up into these big eyes, and she, as a child, thought it was a man with cow eyes. That's how she like processed it. And she followed the alien into a craft or some sort of room where she remembers lying down on a table and getting her organs photographed. She says that as a child, she had no idea what was going on, but looking back at it as an adult, she kind of thinks that what she was seeing were holograms of her organs, because it was images kind of floating. And yeah, so she said now as an adult and living in kind of more of a modern age, I think it was a hologram of what was inside of me. So when Jane
That's
grew up,
cool.
so when Jane grew up, she became an emergency nurse, and she also went into teaching. And this experience has helped her to understand her abductions and to ask questions when she's taken by the aliens. So she has like a general idea of like anatomy and stuff. And she is able to clearly recall most of her experiences on the craft, including having sex with another human with alien DNA in him. So
What?
apparently, yeah, so she says she didn't have much say in the whole process, but that the aliens were very kind to her and she consented, but it was more like it wasn't extremely pleasant, but it wasn't extremely good either.
It was decent sex?
I guess so. But she says that she, at this point, she kind of saw the Greys as her family and she consented because she wanted to help them. But at the same time, she went through a lot of hardships with this. Like, she wasn't sure what the hell was going on. So apparently,
Sounds like a bad
she
first
had this
time.
baby. And around 12 weeks later, the Greys took her back on the ship and removed it from her uterus. So
Wait. Sorry, continue. Sorry. You're probably going to...
Yeah. So she had 3 children this way, and the longest went through a 5-month term. So that's why I was like, okay, if I have to host an alien baby, if it's only going to be in there for like 3 to 5 months, it's like, that's not as bad.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
like
and if it's just taken
faster
away, like...
gestation period.
Can I drink away my problems still?
Yeah. What are the
So-
effects of alcohol when you're pregnant with an alien baby? Can you still drink? Or
Yeah.
how does it work?
So, meanwhile, during this time on Earth, she actually, she went to a doctor and she received ultrasounds and positive pregnancy tests that showed she was pregnant and there was a child inside of her. And suddenly, the baby would just be gone. And during this time, she was also divorced. Like, she has 2 normal human children, but I guess she divorced her husband, and this whole thing went on, and she would actually go through pregnancies where the baby would just disappear. So it's like, I don't know if this was really what she experienced or some kind of coping mechanism on what she had done, and if she got pregnant unexpectedly by some other person and she felt horrible about it or something. But she claims that it was a human alien hybrid. So she also claims that she has met and hugged her 3 hybrid human alien children, and that she has a girl named Claire, a boy named Jude, and another boy called Heath.
How do they have normal names?
Yeah.
How are they
she
not
says-
alien names?
She says that they actually have gray names, but she gave them these names as well to kind of...
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that she actually mentioned that in the interview too.
Okay, that
And
makes
she
sense
said
now.
that her daughter Claire has married another human alien, which she calls Gabriel, and they had a daughter named Amelia. So the decision to go public with her story helped Jane to acknowledge her own experience with her human alien children as real, and also to assist other abductees who were struggling to understand their experience of having unborn children taken by ETs. So today, Jane is a pioneer, bringing the abduction experience into the public awareness, and has bravely started to share her experience with resolute courage and determination to have the truth of the existence of ETs disclosed, as this is the reality of the cosmos that we are connected to. So she asserts that the Greys have been very kind to her and embraced the fullness of her experience with the ET race. So I think there's a lot of controversy about her experience because she, I think, has profited from it, because in January 2018 she actually published a book called Humilian, The Lighter Side of the Grey Alien and Human Breeding Program. So both a mother and a grandmother, Jane lives in the central coast of NSW, which is also known as a hotspot for UFO sightings. So who knows if she's telling the truth. But that I'm gonna pop up a picture of who she is right now.
She looks like a well-educated woman, and she has the anatomy and a nurse thing. So you can't write her off as psychotic, but
Yeah.
you definitely.
How did she seem in her interview that you watched? Was she like could you tell if she
seemed
stable? Or?
She seemed pretty well spoken.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me, I don't know. Like, she seemed well spoken, and she didn't seem completely insane. But I think the things that she was saying were pretty fucking crazy. So it's hard not to have some skepticism listening to her.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, if this is something that is happening and is going on, it would really suck to have no one believe you, and for it to be happening to other people too, and no one believe them, because it is like outlandish, very outlandish, and that's like coming from me who loves alien stuff and completely. But you know what, why would they come for us if not like to see if we're compatible in that way too?
I don't know, to eat us, to destroy us, to befriend us, to make us slaves, to just watch us, like probe us. I honestly, like, thinking about it, like, this would be the last thing I would think they would come, is to breed us.
So, I have another story for you guys, and this is David Huggins. So I have a lot of pictures for this guy because I like the way he copes with all this. So starting at age 6, painter David Huggins from Hoboken, New Jersey, reported being abducted many times. When he told his parents about his encounter once too often, he got a whipping and kept it quiet after that. At age 17, he allegedly lost his virginity to an alien-human hybrid named Crescent. He was walking to a lake in Georgia when he encountered the alien, who appeared mostly human with some alien features. Wearing a wig, she had large eyes and a pale, pointed face. She disrobed, and so did Huggins. So apparently they had sex for the first time, and he would later say, "I just laid down on the ground and she got on top of me. I had no idea why. I just don't know." Over the years, he claims to have fathered over 50 hybrid children with Crescent.
Holy
with many
shit.
of their sexual
Crescent!
twists observed by...
That is very impressive.
He says many of their sexual trysts were observed by insectile aliens, and Huggins identifies them as the leaders. He often saw a number of different alien beings present during his visits with Crescent, including the archetypical Greys and a short alien resembling Sasquatch with luminous yellow eyes. Mysteriously, Huggins also mentions in an interview on Art Blog that there was a guy very tall and angular, very thin, and he has a hair bun on the back of his head. He has red eyes, and he communicates with insect beings. A man bun, yeah. On one occasion, when Huggins was introduced to the children he had sired with Crescent, he claims that he received a static electricity shock from touching one of the infants. When asked to describe an alien vagina, he told Artblog, "I can't say there was all that much warmth. You got to remember, your senses are subdued when you're with them. The intense orgasm you would normally feel is toned down." In his later years, he has turned to expressing his experiences through a medium of surreal erotic oil paintings that are featured in the documentary Love and Saucers, The Far Out World of David Higgins. So if you go to
Love
Discord,
and Saucers, I want to watch this.
So
yeah,
erotic alien paintings.
Yeah, so I'm popping up all the paintings that he has.
Oh,
like, I think my favorite photo is the one of him holding the photo, and there's like literally the scene of him laying on his back, and then the alien on top of him, and it's just like you said, like she just like
smile.
He's like, "This is how I lost
and
my
then
virginity."
There's the alien insect one, and then there's the alien insect in the corner. Oh, creepy! I love these. These are fucking rad.
Yeah, so I was like,
does he sell them?
I liked his story.
Imagine just if you have like a very
sure.
nice house. One day you're very sophisticated. You just have a framed painting of like alien porn. Alien human porn.
Yep, there we go.
It's like a very nice oil painting. You're like, oh yes, this is from.
Oh, God.
From David Higgins.
He serenaded me with his words.
So I have one last story from you. It is
Okay.
from Susan Brown. So according to the ufologist and author Carl Nagaitis, a businesswoman from Cheshire, England, with the pseudonym Susan Brown, claimed that she has been visited repeatedly by an alien called Mariko from 1965 to 1989. So Susan Brown is just an alias, it's not her real name. So unfortunately, I don't have any photos for this one. So Mariko, the alien,
Makes it feel more
was
real.
150. Yeah, it's like ooh. She was 150. Or the alien was 150 centimeters or 5 feet tall, with shoulder-length blonde hair and a skin-tight jumpsuit. The first encounters took place when Brown was only 12 years old, which she described as relaxed and loving. These encounters continued for years, and Brown reported visiting the inside of a spaceship once and seeing small, gray, ageless infants. After the breakdown of her earthly marriage...
Hold on.
Brown's...
Ageless infants?
Yeah.
How the
like
fuck?
scary.
What is an ageless infant? Like,
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Like maybe they just
I-
couldn't
like-
put a number on them. They're like, how child you are. You look like
but
a baby.
infant is already like a categorization of age. Like
Yeah.
you associate an infant, you know,
Like
in
a
the
small
early stages
child.
of. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Not a
don't know,
toddler
maybe-
yet.
Maybe imagine seeing an infant that's like has a weird intelligence about it, or it has demeanors like a full-grown
Okay.
adult, but it's an infant body.
That's fucking creepy.
Like, that's very creepy, and that's what I kind of think she meant. Like
it's like,
seemed-
hello.
Okay.
Yeah. But after the breakdown of her earthly marriage, Brown's relationship with Mariko took a sinister turn. So he used mind control to force her into sexual encounters with a vagrant and a prostitute. She described the experience as a nightmare that was real. 1
An
month
alien
later, she
prostitute?
discovered that
Sorry.
I don't know. There was no clarification on that. I was kind of confused about that too. I was like, So 1 month later, she discovered that she was pregnant. And after another month, she awoke in the night feeling terrible abdominal pains. Mariko was in the room with her. He told her not to worry, that his people were simply taking what was theirs. She passed out and awoke in a bed of blood, having possibly suffered a miscarriage. Months later, Mariko returned and took her to the spaceship nursery to show her a great infant. Somehow I knew that this thing came from my body, said Brown. I also knew that it had been removed from inside my body the night of Mariko's last visit. So the visits from Mariko continued, but stopped entirely after Brown went through menopause.
They're like, you're not fertile anymore. We don't need you.
Yeah, deuces.
Fuck,
But that's
man.
like, for me, I'm like, if that is something that she truly experienced, that's terrifying. But at the same time, it
Yeah.
seems as though it could be just a coping mechanism. Like she did,
For, like, a
she had a bad
miscarriage.
divorce, did some crazy shit with a prostitute and a vagrant, whatever. What is a vagrant? Do you know what a vagrant is?
I have no idea.
I want to say it's probably kind of like not necessarily a homeless person, but kind of a shady character.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, it says
Like,
a
not
person-
quite a gangster.
I looked up the name. It says a person without a settled home or regular work who wanders from place to place and lives for begging. So pretty much a homeless person. So it's like maybe she went through this horrible divorce, made some bad decisions, and kind of had this coping mechanism and had this story fabricated in her mind. But it's like, I don't want to discount any experiences if she did experience this at all too. But who fucking knows if that happened. So to close this up, why are they doing this? One claim from the University of Oxford in England, a professor believes
English.
the abductions are real. Yeah. So Young Hai Chi, who teaches Korean at University of Oxford, claims to know that what the aliens have in mind. In lectures given at the university, he says they're creating alien-human hybrids as a hedge against climate change. To support his unorthodox theory, Chai notes that for several decades, the number of reported alien abductions has risen. He based his statement on the work of David Jacobs, a retired Temple University historian who has published several books on UFOlogy and who runs the International Center of Abduction Research. So I just pulled that random quote out of an article I was looking through when I was looking up alien breeding programs. And I thought it was interesting that he thinks it's tied to climate change. There's no evidence that really truly backs it up. And a lot of scientists are like, nah, dude, like, this isn't even real. But I thought that was interesting.
That is.
Yeah, it definitely makes you think.
Yeah. So who fucking knows if the aliens want to breed with us? There's a crap ton of stories about alien hybrids and stuff, though. And who knows if they're living amongst us as hybrids.
Yeah.
It's an alien hybrid.
Nope.
I'm going to be on the lookout now.
Is there a radar that we can make to detect these? You like the witch trials. I don't like him, so he must be an alien hybrid.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Good fucking story,
That
Angela.
was.
It's just crazy to think about, like, if this is something that's going on and how many people are just being framed as lunatics.
I know.
And I wonder if one day something's going to come to light. That would be, because I feel like even if I were to be abducted or have something crazy like this happen to me, I don't know if I would, like, I would want to, I'd probably tell you guys in private, like, not even on the show, because I'd be like, I don't want to be the crazy person, you know?
I know.
Yeah.
I'd believe you.
I'm pretty sure James wouldn't believe me. He would be like, all right, she's finally cracked.
He's like, well, there it is. The breaking point.
There it is.
Lacey, what do you have for us this week?
Hoozle. All right, so mine's a bummer, just FYI.
God damn it.
I know.
We almost had a really good episode
I
of
know, we
uplifting
would
weird
have,
things.
but it's a interesting story.
It's not me,
Very
so I'm happy.
haunting. So I'm going to tell you about the Villisca Axe murders. So also known as the Villisca Axe murder house, which is infamous at this point. So I'm going to pop up a picture of the house itself. Dink. This is the Villisca Axe murder house, where on June 10th of 18, hang on,
1902?
fact check my thing. Maybe it was 1902.
The sign looks like the photo that you have. It looks like 1902. I don't know. I could be totally
1912. Okay. So before I get into the story, I'm just going to read the names of the victims because just to give them a little shout out because what happened to them was awful. So it was a family of, I believe, 6 and then 2 other girls that were just happened to be over that night. So Josiah B. Moore, who was 43, Sarah Moore, who was 39, that was the husband and wife, or the mom and dad, Herman Moore, who was 11, Catherine Moore, 10, Boyd Moore, 7, Paul Moore, 5, and then Lena Stillinger, and she was 12, and her sister Ina Stillinger, who was 8. And here is a little picture of a newspaper article with some photos of the victims. So you can see most of them were very young, super sad. So moving on to what happened on that night. So sometime around midnight between Sunday, June 9th and Monday, June 10th in 1912, a person or persons entered a modest house in Villisca, Iowa, and bludgeoned to death 8 people sleeping there, including 2 adults and 6 children aged 5 through 12. The killings became known as the Villisca Axe murders and are easily the most notorious murders in Iowa history, and they are still unsolved to this day.
We've got a little theme going. Last week was the murders.
I know, with the hammer, I was thinking about that.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm. So here's a little background of the day and the evening before the murders occurred. So on Sunday evening of June 9th, Josiah Moore and his wife Sarah took their 4 children, Herman, Catherine, Boyd, and Paul, to the Children's Day service at their neighborhood church. Accompanying them were Lena and Ina Stillinger, who were the neighbors who had asked their parents permission to go with them and then stay overnight at their house after the church service. So, I know. The Children's Day service was an end-of-the-year Sunday school program, and Sarah Moore was the co-director, and her children performed like a little recital for the event. And the service ended with some social mingling that lasted until at least 9:30 p.m. So when the family left the service, no one suspected that would be the last time that they would be seen alive. So they walked 3 blocks back to their home, and they ate cookies and milk, ending the festive evening, and then all went to bed. So they're having like a great day and a fun night. So, again, sometime after midnight, the killer or killers picked up Joe's axe from the backyard, entered the house, and bludgeoned to death all 8 of its occupants. So it was while they were all in bed and asleep, they were bludgeoned to death.
Well, that makes you hope that it went fast. Did it
know.
happen fast?
Yeah.
They suffered?
I don't...
Okay.
And it happened in 1912. This was before like any like serial killer was really a thing, and in this small town like murders didn't happen. So moving on, the next day around 7:30, Mary Peckham, who was an elderly neighbor, became concerned because the Moore house seemed very quiet and sort of deserted. She called Joe's brother Ross, who was a local pharmacist, and he arrived around 8 o'clock a.m. to look around. And he went inside the house and looked around downstairs, and he saw 2 figures covered with a sheet in the back room, and also saw blood on the bedstand. So then, and that was the father's brother. So Ross sort of stepped back from the crime scene and called a local hardware store, it was Joe's hardware store that he owned, and told one of the employees to get the marshal, whose name was Hank Horton, and he just said that something terrible had happened. So the police marshal Hank arrived around 8:30, went through the house, and found somebody murdered in every bed. That's what his quote was that he told Ross, the brother. So in every bed of the house, there was a dead body that was bludgeoned to death.
How lovely!
I know, I'm sorry. A partially cleaned murder weapon was left leaning against the south wall of the downstairs bedroom, where the little visiting girls were found dead. So the crime scene itself, because again, this was before there were regulations in place about like don't enter a crime scene, so all these people came and were like looking, and they're like, oh my god, like it was probably the biggest thing that has happened in this small town like ever. So there were 2 really strange things that stood out about this crime scene that the killer had left. So the first was a 4-pound piece of slab bacon leaning against the wall next to the axe. And the murderer also searched every dresser and drawers for pieces of cloth, and he covered all of the mirrors in the house and all of the windows. And a theory about this is that if all of the mirrors and all of the windows in the house were closed, then no one could see him do any evil. So like God or whoever, he would be like, so obviously maybe he felt guilty about it because he covered all of the windows and all of the mirrors, which is creepy.
Yeah, and he didn't even want to see himself afterwards. Like, he didn't want to catch his reflection covered in blood.
Yeah. And then on the kitchen table, there was a plate of uneaten food and a bowl of bloody water. So maybe that's like what he used to clean the axe, because the axe was like partially cleaned off.
Or even like any blood on him.
Yeah. So all of the victims were found in their beds, their heads covered with bedcloths, and had their skulls battered 20 to 30 times with the blunt end of an axe. So the only person who is theorized to be not killed with the blunt end is the father, because I was watching this YouTube video, but he kind of showed, you can now tour the house, and I'll get into that. But this guy was on a tour of the house, and in the wall next to the side of the bed where the father was sleeping, there's like the mark the blunt end of an axe, so it's as if he like swung back to hit him with the actual sharp side of the axe for some reason. I don't know why he used that side just for the father, but everyone else was hit 20 to 30 times with the blunt end.
Maybe to make sure, because that would be the strongest individual in the house.
Yeah, that's true. So Lena Stillinger, the little girl that was visiting, her and her sister, her nightgown had been pushed up and she was like left exposed in kind of a sexual position. So it's theorized that maybe she was sexually abused, which is really
she
sad.
12?
She was 12, yeah. So the funeral services were held in the town square on June 12th, and thousands of people attended. It was like a huge thing. Let's see. I have a photo. No. Oh yeah, here's a picture of bedrooms now. Just popping these up. Dink dink. And this, I think, is a picture of, whoops, spoiler. I showed a picture I shouldn't have yet. So there are not very many suspects to this murder. Again, it's still unsolved. No one knows who did it, but there is one person, and that is the reverend of the town. So here's his fucking grainy ass picture. I'll just show this for a second because it's really low quality. It's the only picture I could find. So this is Reverend Lynn George Jacqueline Kelly. And this guy, at 5:15 a.m. the morning following the murders, he left Villisca on board a train and told a couple of the travelers that there were 8 dead souls back in Villisca, Iowa, butchered in their beds while they slept. And this was before the bodies had even been discovered. So, and again, this could be like hearsay. They'd be like, oh, that guy told me this. But there's really no way of knowing if that's what he actually said. But still,
a little bit
suspicious.
of hearsay, but I'll go with it. Fucking priest did it.
Yeah, I know. So he came back, or arrived in Villisca the first time the Sunday morning of the murders and attended Sunday school. Oh, wait, so he was on a train. Yeah, so anyways, never mind.
So he's a visiting priest?
No, he was there. He had left, and then he came back, but then left again. And then returned 2 weeks later, and he was posing as a detective. So
instead of a priest?
Yeah. I don't know how they knew that he wasn't the
weird.
priest. Yeah.
Yeah, that's suspicious.
I know. He's like, oh yeah, I'm a detective. And then he was like on a tour. I think he just wanted an excuse to get back into the house. So he's like, oh yeah, I'm a detective. Let me in. Let's investigate. And so authorities became interested in him a few weeks after the murders because I guess he had been sending like rambling letters to people about how God wanted him to kill children and make them suffer and whatnot. But he ended up going to trial.
Lovely.
Yeah. He was the only one that was ever tried for the murders, and basically he was acquitted because there wasn't enough evidence, and he ended up like not confessing and got away with it. And again, it was in 1912. There was no DNA evidence or anything like that existed, unfortunately. Damn. So here are some pictures of the graves of the souls lost, which is really sad. 8 of them.
Yeah, it's depressing because they don't even all have a headstone. They have like those little like plaques.
So the house is now a tourist attraction, and to me this is kind of fucked up, but do I still want to go? Yeah, I do. Yes. So you can.
It's in Iowa, right?
It's in Iowa. You can book a tour or even have an overnight stay at the house. So it's renovated to have. I know. Yeah, you can have. They renovated it to have running water and electricity, but pretty much everything else in the house is untouched. So people pay, I think, up to like almost $430 a night to sleep in the same beds. I don't know if it's the same beds. Maybe I'm making that up. I hope it's not. That'll be fucked. It's gotta be different. There'd be blood on the mattresses. Okay, anyways. But the same.
1912 to 2020. That's a different fucking thing.
I hope so. But you can sleep in the same area as where like the most gruesome unsolved murders in American history were to have occurred. So it's a very popular attraction because allegedly it is the site of a lot of paranormal activity. So this picture that I'm showing now are sort of different guests' photos of orbs or weird things that they've seen in the house. This one was posted by the local news. I don't know if I sent you guys the picture of the chair in the attic, but if you and I didn't even notice this at first. I was reading the article, I'm like, what the fuck is scary about this? But if you look at the leg of the chair, one of the legs are like slightly up off the ground, it appears to be, and
like the one kind of closest to you.
Yeah, it's slightly up off the ground. They're like, whoa, it's a ghost. But I don't know, I'm like, it could just be an uneven chair, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that one's a little too
but one
far-fetched.
one event that sort of, I guess, made national headlines, I don't remember ever hearing about it, but on November 7th, a visitor to the Villisca Axe murder house was rushed to a nearby hospital after being found with self-inflicted stab wound to his chest. So again, this house is a familiar site.
Self-inflicted.
He stabbed himself in the chest, but he claims like the spirits made him do it, or
But they weren't stabbed; they were bludgeoned.
Exactly.
To death, so.
I don't know. Maybe this guy just wanted attention. I'm pretty sure he survived. But here's a quote from Martha Lynn, who's 77 and bought the house in 94 and sort of restored it back to its 1912 condition and got all of the water and plumbing, whatever. So she says, they play with the children. They hear voices. They get pictures of anomalies. She's talking about guests that come. I have notebooks from just the last 2 years full of what overnight experiences people have had. Very few of them go away without experiencing something. So the guy, he's a 37-year-old visiting from Wisconsin, and he was with a group of friends for a recreational paranormal investigation. So the sheriff goes on to explain, from my understanding, he was alone in the northwest bedroom, and the rest of the party was outside, and he called for help on their mobile two-way radio. His companions found him stabbed in the chest, an apparent self-inflicted wound, and they called 911 and they brought him to a nearby hospital. And it was also said to happen around 12:45 a.m., which was also the same time that the murders apparently happened. So that's kind of spooky. But yeah, he was fine, and he claimed the ghost made him do it. And the lady who owns the place, she's like, I really wasn't hoping for this kind of publicity. It's like, you run a fucking axe murder house tourist attraction. Like,
yeah.
What the fuck did you think was gonna happen, lady?
I know. But, yeah, who fucking knows who killed these people? But the story itself, I don't know why. When I first heard about it, I was fascinated. And there's definitely, like, more theories to go into and whatnot. But like, who would kill a whole family, like bludgeon them to death with an axe? But this was thought to be one of the first serial killers also. So
it's
nice.
weird that they use the dull end.
Yeah,
like
the blunt end. It seems as if it's like
them.
more of a crime of passion. Like, they didn't want to just kill them and make it over with quickly. And what the fuck is up with the slab of bacon? I don't get that part either.
And like, who was the target? Like, was it everyone inside the house
like,
that was the initial target, or was it just one? Was it because the kids were there and they're taking, because the two sisters that were there, they were neighbors, right?
Mm-hmm. They just happened to be staying.
What if they wanted to, like, it had maybe like they were the target and they were going after those parents, like making them suffer because they left the neighbors alive without children, at least those two children, if they had more. It's so fucking crazy.
It's so sad. And like, now you can go there. Oh, and then my last picture I wanted to show was the Zach Baggins ghost fucking ghost dimensions. They're all holding axes. Like, this dick.
He's
fuck off, Zach Baggins.
That's
classic Zach Baggins. But it's a real bummer. Rest in peace, the Moore family and the Stillinger daughters.
Would you guys want to spend the night there?
Fuck yes.
Yeah.
I would be,
am I horrible for wanting to do that? I would be so scared too.
I don't think I'd be able to sleep. I think my worst fear is that
wouldn't.
some crazy person would decide to like
Recreate the axe murder.
Yeah. And we
I
just
know.
happened to be sitting there that night.
I know. That would fucking
Like,
suck.
I think I would I couldn't. That'd be
Yeah.
I would if you guys were there too, but I think that would be the thought going through my head. We definitely could not drink or do anything.
No, we'd have to
just
be on
under
our
the influence, 'cause
most
I would
alert.
be fucking paranoid the entire time.
I would be drinking.
Dude, like, what the fuck?
I would be like,
For a
Why
good
wouldn't you
time.
be drinking? That's how I would cope with things. I wouldn't get drunk, but I would be like, give me my glass of wine.
Yeah.
that's crazy.
But yeah, that's what I
Fucking
got for you.
crazy. Well, excellent.
Yeah.
Oh,
a
well,
bummer.
that was gnarly. If you want to check us out, Angela has the info. Sorry, I'm stretching. It feels nice. How can you find us,
You
Angela?
can find our website at www.whofkknows.com. You can search us up on YouTube. Just type in who and then F asterisk KEN knows ? Sorry, those asterisks. We're too far in where we can't change it now, but and then
Well,
you can
we've
find
got
us-
at least 2 stars. That's why.
yeah. And then our Instagram is at whofken knows, and on there you can find the link to our YouTube, our Spotify, and our Apple, and everything, and our website. So I think I covered the grounds, right?
If you find
Yeah.
some spooky shit and you want to tag us in it, tag us, or you can also hashtag WFK because that is now our short-term thing.
WFK,
That's
yeah.
letters. And really, you should look out for episode 50 because we got a pretty rad guest that's going to tell us some interesting ghosty stories.
Yay.
So see you next week, friends.
Bye.